we're a team of 20 green doctors, and we deliver home visits and telephone advice calls, and that depends on the nature of the issue. A typical home visit would last between an hour and a half, and a highly trained specialised green doctor would be able to offer energy efficiency advice, and that's very much in the home, tailored, bespoke advice. And that really is different because each case and how each household uses energy and how we place items, how we set up our energy tariffs is different for each household. And so we're giving advice, and that's very much so important these days as we're in the cost of living crisis. Energy efficiency advice is really coming to an absolute priority. We can do that in various niche ways, and I'll come on again a little bit more detail about energy efficiency advice around the home. We can apply for things like energy efficiency grants. So that would be depending on the type of tenancy. So if we're talking social housing, we might be looking for certain welfare support grants that may be available in that particular council area. That may be fuel vouchers. As green doctors, we're able to issue fuel vouchers in many of the areas that we work in. That does depend on what's available in what particular council. But to give you an idea of the number of people who are really struggling with emergency fuel payments, we've given about £247,000 in emergency fuel payments since April. That was April to December, and that's just give a little bit of an idea of the scale of the issue of people who are struggling to pay their energy bills and make ends meet. Lots of people are struggling, as I mentioned, lots of people are struggling in the cost of living crisis. So we're advising people about energy debt, repayment plans. We're in touch with energy suppliers. So we having a three-way conversation with the tenant, with the energy supplier, and ourselves. And that can be quite difficult for someone who maybe lacks the capacity or lacks the patience to get through to an energy supplier to maybe discuss the tariff or maybe to try and set up a repayment plan. And so having a skilled green doctor advisor there in the house to be able to do that, or on the telephone, again, we can do three-way conversations with the supplier, and we can try and assess any problems. Could be metering problems, could be billing problems, could be just a general tariff inquiry, but we can help on that front. We've got a very close relationship between energy use, water use. So we find, if someone needs advice around energy, they may need advice around water as well. Of 85% of the energy used in the home, we've got 63% used for energy and 22% used for water. So you can see there the relationship. So at the same time, we're able to give energy advice, we're able to give water advice. There's certain social tariffs that people can apply for, such as water support scheme, water sure scheme. There's also debt support, and we also give advice around water efficiency as well. Whilst we're in the home, we're very much working on a principle of what we'd call making every contact count. So that means whilst we're there, when we're in that very privileged position to be able to try and support somebody, we're looking at all the different ways in which we can provide support. And that would be, after the 12 years that we've been operating as Green Doctors, we built up quite a large network of referral partners. And that could be for a variety of things. It could be for housing issues, it could be for heating repairs, it could be for damp mold issues. It could be for things like food parcels. These are things like for extra support and a variety of other issues that we may come across. We're able to report those back and hopefully maybe speed some action up in some way or highlight a particular case. Whilst we're in the home, we're also offering certain practical measures. So we'll be installing things such as LED light bulbs that can very quickly reduce energy costs, increase energy efficiency. We're installing reflective panels. So these are reflective radiator panels, which would go behind radiators on external walls or adjoining walls to another property. And it's trying to reduce the amount of heat that's leaking from the property and reflect it back into the home to save you some more money and just to improve those levels of thermal comfort. And similarly with the draft proofing. So we're able to do this at the time on the home visit. So if there's drafts coming maybe around a door or around a window, or maybe there's some holes, or so there's some leakage around pipes or around the flue of the boiler or around the meter cupboard, we can have a look at those and try and make the house a little bit more airtight and a little bit more comfortable as well. At the same time, we're advising things about, as I mentioned, about damp and mold. So we're looking at things about how to ventilate the house adequately at the same time as heating it to try and reduce those levels of damp and mold. And as I mentioned, as we were signposting for extra support, that's a very important aspect of the work that the Green Doctors do. So it's very much of a holistic kind of service, and that's why it's called the Green Doctors. So it's more than an energy advice service. It's a lot more comprehensive than that.